In 1978 released the action drama film Don, written by the legendary writer duo Salim Javed, starring Amitabh Bachchan as Don, the most popular actor of his time. Then, as almost 3 decades had passed on, Shah Rukh Khan had emerged as his generation's definitive actor, mostly starring in romance comedies and romance dramas. But by 2005, critics began to denounce that though Shah Rukh Khan's career had begun with villainous roles, usually involved in most of the action of his films, his acting career had now boiled down to just romance, and that he couldn't fit in an action role if he tried. So, 28 years after the original Don, Javed Akhtar's son Farhan Akhtar would put on the director's cap to remake his father's all-time action classic, starring Shah Rukh Khan. To be honest, SRK's career has seen little versatility in its genres, even though he's shown much versatility in committing to his roles. And that's why probably he's been able to stay fresh through so many decades. And also India's most financially successful actor of all time, and a sound public figure and motivational speaker. And while I like his romance films a lot, partly due to childhood nostalgia and sometimes you need to watch simple films philosophy, I think his action films stand out the most, of which the numbers are few. But out of all, Don is my absolute favorite. So let's analyze why. Don was released in 2006 to critical and commercial acclaim, and I remember seeing it not on the big screen but on my little square CRT television a few months after its release. And then I saw it a lot of times because I loved the film, as it was not only the first proper spy action film from India in a long time that wasn't trying to copy what Hollywood had done the previous summer, but I liked the film for its crazy twists and turns, however unbelievable they may be, because as a young child I just couldn't see most of them coming. In addition, seeing the Bollywood flavor treated to a modern espionage action genre film was another thing that made Don unique. The first Don film succeeds in a lot of things. As an action film, there's more than enough of every kind of car chase, hand-to-hand combat, clever heists, and the guns blazing. The overall aesthetic of the film carries a Matrix-like look to itself with dull green tints on just about every frame of the film, a look probably the first time I ever saw in a Bollywood film. And though it does not to the original Don and other espionage action films like James Bond, and carries elements of films like Matrix and Payback, what I think helps it find its own rhythm and tone is what separates it from generic action films are 2 things: the music and the gripping storyline. While some songs might be unnecessary and forced, others are really good. They really add to the film. Some like Main Hoon Don and Aaj Ki Raat put you in a trance-like state as if to sort of deceive the viewer, but also leaving us with subtle hints towards what's coming next in the story of the film. It works good in both showing a promo to the film and all the characters that it has, but also being really related to the story of the film. While it does carry some plot points and solid music remakes from the original, Don could have easily been a bad reboot compared to the 1978 classic. But it works because it takes the bigger budget seriously. The international locations, a great ensemble of side characters, its multiple antagonists, and heck, the anti-hero Don, and then successfully connects them all into one thread. The basic gist of Don is that everybody wants to kill or betray Don, and Don, the main man of his own film, just somehow gets away with it. That's it, that's the main gist. Though the film goes in depth on each character, on Don as well, showing that the journey they have, their own purposes, to deceive everyone else and get away with these grand crimes. But Don is the real winner, always. If you can't catch it coming, the major plot twist of the film has Don revealing that when he surrendered to Vardhan, who then planted a similar looking proxy into Don's gang, it wasn't actually his lookalike but he himself all along. When you look back on it, it's part ridiculous and part amazing. Part ridiculous because how does one find an exactly similar looking person to an underworld kingpin, of which there are very less photos anyway? And part amazing because if James Bond can change his face every decade and nobody minds it, then we should all just shut up and watch the movie. In retrospect, it's startling how you never feel that lookalike isn't actually Don, though as soon as he's alone you think that oh yeah, he isn't the real Don. Shah Rukh Khan sells you on this idea very well. The body language, the way of speaking, everything changes in a matter of a second, and you're always on the edge whether it really is him or it isn't. And that's great acting on part of SRK, so props to that. If you look at the star cast and what roles they play, it's a long list of all kinds of actors in all kinds of roles. Boman Irani's sudden antagonist is one of the better and more believable reveals of the film, because you can't then backtrack it to his earlier actions in the film. His doubts on why a senior officer is getting involved in his case, him letting Don go before kidnapping him to plant a proxy, while Don's reveal at the end of the film can only be left to pure speculation, because there's nothing else suggesting what may have happened or not. Though he's primarily a comedic actor, Boman Irani does the crazy desperate villain's villain role rather greatly. Priyanka Chopra's Roma character too has a constant back and forth hate and romance contrast with Don that carries on even in the sequel, and Arjun Rampal's character is just tragic in this film. So much goes wrong for the guy, but nobody compares to the charisma and screen presence of Don, who plays this amazingly mysterious criminal that is not only hard to figure out, but what he might be up to next just right after you figure something out about him. You just can't ever expect it. Don's character crosses into that realm where you think anything can happen, like literally anything, so you can't ever have enough theories to narrow down what's coming next in the film. Dawn, regardless of its numbered cliches and few outdated characteristics, requires your full attention, always, in order to follow it. And to me, that is a signal of a good screenplay. The cinematography, like I mentioned, is beautiful. In parts, it makes the film shine out, and in parts, it makes the film really dark and dullish. Like, it works completely, and Farhan Akhtar's direction is really good. We all know that Farhan Akhtar has directed some great films like Lakshya, which also carried a similar green tint vibe, and the friendship love classic film Dil Chahta Hai, which is another classic. So Farhan Akhtar's direction here is just as good, but it lands the film in a 3-hour runtime, which is grand. 3 hours is a long time for a film, but it never lets you take your eyes off of it because it's a very tight screenplay, which I think alludes to the fact that it's both quality and quantity. Though in no way it is like Christopher Nolan's prime films like Inception or Interstellar, or even Tenet, but it is like Christopher Nolan's early films like Insomnia, but with exaggerated plot twists. Well, you can't help but feel bad for all the good people just trying to get their revenge and most of them failing by the end. Dawn is the kind of film that wants you to root for the bad guy, and it certainly leaves you with a lot to hate about Dawn. But guess what? You can't really help but root for this villain. The main distinction between James Bond and Dawn is perfectly described by Shah Rukh Khan himself.
Dawn is really, James Bond gone rogue.
And here's mine, MDR's final say on Dawn. It is true that while James Bond is a good guy getting things done, but with sometimes morally wrong methods, Dawn is a bad guy who gets things done, with sometimes morally worse methods. Thanks for watching MDR. I hope you really like this video. I'm working hard on these videos a lot. Make sure you subscribe, like, something like that, because if you can't support the channel through Patreon or anything else, this helps a lot. It's completely free. You can just like, you can share, and you can subscribe. It helps me a lot. Thanks for watching. Take care.